Clearside is a biopharmaceutical company dedicated to treating ocular diseases and serious ocular diseases using a novel approach to accessing the suprachoroidal space. The inherent flexibility of the approach that we've chosen, a microinjector, allows us to work with both advanced clinical candidates and existing therapies, as well as preclinical candidates and novel therapies. Clearside was founded based on research performed by Hank Edelhauser at Emory University, where he discovered a space between the sclera and the outer retina where you can inject a drug, and it rapidly and completely moves past the retina and surrounds the outer retina, and keeps the drug there and away from any off-target locations such as the aqueous humor and cataract, which is important when you're injecting steroids and other therapies. In animal models, we show that when you inject triamcinolone, which was originally the proof of concept approach for this approach to injecting in the suprachoroidal space, what we saw was we could get nearly 10 times the amount of drug to the diseased area, the back of the macula, and keep the drug away from the aqueous humor and CLSTA. And as you can see in this chart, on the right side you can see the amount of drug at the outer retina and just trace amounts at the aqueous humor and the crystalline lens. And the question was, can we pursue this drug now and see if that plays out in the clinic? And so CLSTA became our most advanced candidate. We're looking at it in macular edema following uveitis, and macular edema following RVO, as well as diabetic macular edema. Additionally, earlier in our pipeline, we have a number of proprietary compounds and collaborations looking at other retinal vascular diseases. And at ARVO, we presented non-viral DNA injected into this space expresses with a single injection using the same methodology that we're using for CLSTA. So we're excited, and we think we're just really scratching the surface for the potential that the suprachoroidal space holds for delivering therapies for serious ocular diseases. And I'd like to take you through some top-line data from our more advanced trials and our more advanced disease states. First, in uveitis. Currently, there are no approved therapies for macular edema following uveitis, and macular edema is the leading cause of vision loss in uveitis patients. Additionally, there are no approved therapies for all locations, all anatomic locations of uveitis. So we pursued a trial going after macular edema, regardless of where the uveitis presented, and we were going after visual gains, which is the first uveitis trial to have visual gains as an outcome. And we presented this data in Q1, the top-line data, where we saw 47% of patients in the treatment arm, the monotherapy CLSTA arm, compared to 16% in the sham arm, achieve 3-line gains. From a safety perspective, we wanted to see if we were truly keeping the drug in the back of the eye, and we're encouraged. It's still early days for cataracts, so it's a 6-month trial, but we're encouraged to see really no signal between the active and control arms so far. And from an IOP perspective, we were able to keep IOP rates just around 10%, or 11.5% in the treatment arm, and the per protocol control arm, there was 0%. We were also encouraged by the fact that 97% of the patients completed the trial. From an RVO perspective, it's a different disease. The edema is much more severe. It comes on much more rapidly. And our thought here was that maybe by combining CLSTA with an anti-VEGF, we may be able to have inferior outcomes and also reduce the number of injections that patients with RVO would face on the long run. A large portion of patients are continuing monotherapy or monthly therapy, out to 4 years after initiation. We were hoping we could reduce that treatment burden. And in fact, we were able to reduce the total number of treatments for patients from 23 in the monotherapy anti-VEGF arm to just 9 in the combination arm. But we were pleasantly surprised when we looked at the efficacy data, and we actually saw increased vision in those patients as early as month 1 and sustained through month 3, which is the duration of the trial. From a safety standpoint with RVO, we also saw about 8% of patients getting having IOP AEs over those 3 months. And we were encouraged with that data, and we moved forward with 2 phase 3 data, the Sapphire and the Topaz trial, which are ongoing currently. And then for DME, again, a different type of edema. The diabetic retinopathy has been there for years before the edema shows up. But again, these patients are often going out 3 to 4 years with chronic therapy. And we took a similar approach in phase 2 to see if we could reduce the number of treatments and come out with clinically equivalent data. And what we were able to show was that indeed the improvement in BCVA was clinically equivalent between the Eylea alone arm and our combination arm, and with nearly half the number of treatments. We're continuing to analyze this data and look at our opportunities to move forward with it. We also saw an encouraging trend, while not statistically significant, an encouraging trend of edema reducing more than in the monotherapy arm alone from month 1 through month 6. And again, on the safety side, we saw IOP rates below 10%, 8.3% in the treatment arm compared to 3% in the Eylea alone arm. And cataracts, again, there was one more cataract patient in the treatment arm versus the control arm. So we're encouraged by the data that we're seeing so far. We believe it's translating from the animal data that we saw earlier, and we look forward to continuing these advanced trials. Our opportunity is well protected. We have over 15 patents covering everything from the method of use and injecting in the suprachoroidal space to the device itself. And we've built a team with extensive ophthalmic experience and product launch experience, and we're growing rapidly as we transition from a clinical stage company to prepare to be a commercial stage company, hopefully in 2019, should CLSTA be approved for uveitis. And it's been an exciting year already. We released the phase 3 data in Q1. We are releasing the full comprehensive Peachtree data at the end of this meeting at the late breaker session on Wednesday. And moving forward, we have an NDA filing scheduled by the end of this year. From an RVO perspective, we'll see our top line 2-month efficacy data by the end of the year from our Sapphire trial, and we're enrolling the Topaz trial globally currently. And as I mentioned, DME, we continue to go through the full analysis of the data and look for opportunities to move forward there. Thank you.